Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. City of Pearland, this is a regular meeting, and this is Monday, September 20th, and it is now 6:32 p.m. That is item number 1 on our agenda, which was called to order. Item number 2 is the introduction of the agenda and the format of the meeting, and if you'll take that away.
Thanks, Chair. So for each item tonight, we'll have a call to order followed by a staff report. Then the applicant has an opportunity to present. Following that, we'll have comments from the public in either support or opposition. When you come up to the podium, please state your name and address for the record and be brief within a 3-minute time frame. Then commission and staff will have their discussion. Afterwards, the commission will either vote to recommend approval as presented, approval with conditions, or denial of the request, or to table the item. City Council consideration for zone change and conditional use permit cases is tentatively scheduled for October 11th. And then for the agenda for tonight, we have 2 variances, both of which are 3-to-1 lot depth to width ratios. A zone change for neighborhood services to general business on Cullen Parkway, a conditional use permit for a concrete batch plant on Knapp Road, and then a auto wash, which is located on Main Street. Apologize, error there. It is actually located at 1614, I believe.
It's located on the north side.
2027 Main Street.
7 Main Street, yes.
It's right in the presentation. It's just wrong on that one. Yes, sir.
Thank you. That includes item number 2. Item number 3 is our roll call and a certification of quorum. All commission members are present other than Commissioner Eisenberg and Commissioner Earls. And that leads us to item number 4, which is consent agenda. And on the consent agenda, we have 2 items, and that is the excuse the absence of Commissioner Boswell and Commissioner Henrichs. Right? Sorry about that. And then also the approval of the minutes of August 16th of 2021. Do I hear a motion, please, to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discuss? Oh, we don't discuss. Too much of a habit. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Measure passes unanimously, 5-0. And that brings us to item 5, which is items removed from the consent agenda. There were none. And item 6 is to discuss those. We don't have any. So we'll move to item 7, which is new business. And here we go. Item A, excuse me, this is the consideration possible action. It's a variance VARP 21-0009, and this is a variance from the required minimum lot depth to width ratio. A request by Joshua Calip, the applicant on behalf of Fellowship of Believers Baptist Church. And this is the variance permitted under section 2.6.1.1B1 of the UDC, ordinance number 2000-T. The general description or location is 2834 Wagon Trail Road. Do we have a staff report?
Excuse me, if I may, Chair Puertas. Item 6 was actually items removed from the agenda, not from the consent agenda. And it was meant to let members of the public know that the project that they may have received notice about in the newspaper or personal notice, or even if they were looking at an agenda online for 1613 Main Street, has been removed for the agenda. So we do have a lot of folks in the audience. If they were here for the project at 1613 Main Street, zone change 21-00017, that item is not on this agenda, and I would hate for them to be sitting in the audience all night waiting to hear that and then be disappointed at the end when it was never called.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
I do apologize for the interruption, but I thought better sooner than later.
Well received. Thank you. Always appreciate a correction.
If you weren't going to jump in, I was. So With that, let me introduce Florence Buaku, who is one of our planners here in community development, and she'll do the staff report for this variance. Florence, take it away.
Thank you, Martin. Good evening, Chair and members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. This is a request for approval of a variance from the minimum lot depth to width ratio. The general location is 2834 Wagon Trail, and the purpose is to plat one lot with a lot depth to width ratio of 3.33 to 1, with the intent to use it as a place of worship. So staff has reviewed this variance according to criteria outlined in the Unified Development Code and has determined that it meets the criteria. The property is located at 2834 Wagon Trail. It is zoned neighborhood services, which allows the proposed use, and is surrounded by similar uses, similar zoning on most sides. What you have on the screen is the future land use of the lot to be platted. It has a future land use of business commercial, which allows the proposed use. And then what we are looking at now is the plat of the property. Again, it has a lot depth to width ratio of 3.33 to 1, and dimensions are 198 by 600 feet. And so based on this meeting the criteria established in the UDC, staff recommends approval of the proposed variance. Thank you. That concludes staff report.
Thank you, and my apologies. The second thing I forgot tonight, if y'all are keeping count, is a motion for approval of this item.
So moved.
Second.
Good. All right. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this matter? Anyone wishing to speak? And a third time? All right, we'll move forward. Any comments, questions, concerns? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Measure passes unanimously, 5-0. All right, that brings us to item B under 7 of new business, and that is consideration possible action, VARP 21-00010, and this again is another variance from the required minimum lot depth width ratio. This is a request specifically of Action Survey LLC, the applicant, on behalf of Nicholas Damian, the owner. Variance permitted in section 2.6.1.1 B1 of the UDC ordinance number 2000T. The general location is 4825 Ethel Drive, Pearland, in the ETJ. How about a motion for approval?
So moved.
All right, staff report, please.
Once again, Florence, take it away.
Thank you. This request is for approval of a variance from the lot depth to width, minimum lot depth to width ratio, which is supposed to be 3:1. In this case, it's 4.4:1. The location is west of 4825 Ethel Drive. It's located in the ETJ, and the intended use is for a single-family residential development. Again, staff has reviewed this request based on criteria established in the Unified Development Code, and we have established that this request meets all the criteria established. The property is located in the ETJ, and so it doesn't have any zoning designation. It's located south of the Mary's Creek Channel. The future land use for the property is low-density residential, which is consistent with the intended use of the property. in here is the plat for the property. The lot dimensions are 100 feet by 440 feet, which yields a lot depth to width ratio of 4.4 to 1. And staff recommends approval of the proposed variance request. Thank you. That concludes staff report.
Thank you very much. Do we have any persons wishing to speak on this item? Oh,
Sir, if you would be
I'm
so
sorry.
kind as to use the podium back there. These proceedings are recorded, and we need to make sure first we get your name and your address. Understand that you're the owner, but we want to make sure we record it for the sake of the record.
And one more thing, does he need to also then fill out that form, or is he being the applicant? Is that necessary?
As the applicant, I believe we've got his contact information.
Okay, this is the first time doing this. My name is Nicholas Damian. I'm the owner of the property. It would be at 4821 Ethel Drive. We currently live on Groveton, 5602 Groveton here in Pearland. I was just trying to get the house built, and basically we had to put it on hold because we were going through Tilson Homes, and they say, hey, we're fixing to go through all this, so we had, wait for y'all. That's it.
Thank you for those comments.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak for this item? Going once, going twice. All right, that brings us to Commissioner wrap up here. Comments? Anything? All right. Thank you for going through the process. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Measure passes 5-0. Thank you again. You're welcome to stay with us all night long if you wish. But the next item, item C under 7 of new business, is consideration and possible action, and this is different from the others. This is a zone change application, and that number is 21-00016. And this is a request by Lonnie Turner, applicant and owner, for approval of a zone change from Neighborhood Services, which is NS District, to General Business, GB District, on approximately 0.39 acres of land. General location is 3054 Cullen Parkway. How about a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
We're going to take a little different approach this time. We will have staff comments, but we'll also have a different format. It should be slightly different.
Sure thing.
Court?
Thank you much. So let me introduce Mohammed Brema. He is our senior planner here in community development, and he'll be providing the staff report tonight for this case. Mohammed, take it away.
Thank you, Mark. Good evening, members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. This request is for a zone change from the Neighborhood Service District to the General Business District, on approximately half of an acre land located at the northwest corner of Cullen Parkway and Fight Road. According to the applicant, the intent is to rezone this property to accommodate additional uses, including a massage establishment. Should this rezoning gets approved by the City Council, the applicant would still need to apply for a conditional use permit for a massage establishment, as this use requires approval of a CUP within this requested zoning GB. This property also was subject to a rezoning request in 2000 from R1 to GB, and the request was amending during the City Council proceedings, and it was approved as an NS district. That's the current zoning of the property. We have not received any public comments about this request, verbal or written. In the next slide is the zoning map, and it shows the property zoned neighborhood service. It is surrounded by non-residential districts from the north, east, and west, and by residential zoning from the south side across Fight Road. On the future land use map, it's the next slide, and it shows the property designated for retail, offices, and services on the future land use plan. The property, I do have a slide here. These are views of the existing property. On the left side of the screen shows the property from Cullen, and that's the existing building that's on the property from, I believe, 1969. It's currently used as a chiropractic facility, and on the right side is a view from Fight Road. The next slide, this is a comparison table of the allowable uses in the neighborhood services. That's existing zoning versus the general business zoning. That's the requested zoning on the right side. In addition to all of the uses that you see on the left side, the general business also allow uses that you see on the right side, which include any of like the uses like adult daycare, bakery. You can see that list: church, cinema, commercial amusement. So those are the list. These are uses that would be allowed in addition to what is currently allowed on the left side. Next slide is the conformity table. The proposed zoning is consistent with the land use designation thoroughfare plan as well as the utility plan. Next slide is the criteria of approval. The proposed zone change is conforming all of these criteria, including the future land uses designation on the comprehensive plan, the zoning, the immediate and the surrounding area. The next slide is staff recommendation. Staff recommends approval of the proposed zone change with a 3 consideration that this proposed GB zoning will not be isolated in this location here. As you can see, there are some GB zoning that are available on the west side as well as the east side from this property. Should this property be developed, then the corridor overlay district will take care and ensure higher quality development on this site. Now, the only consideration that you have to take is that this site is very limited in terms of size and would not be able to accommodate development standards such as parking, landscaping, and other site standards in the future. It's just about less than half an acre. So that concludes the staff report, and back to you, Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
As part of our process, the next number 2 is the applicant presentation if they wish to give one. Applicant present, welcome. Name and address, please.
Sure.
Starting out.
Good evening. My name is Valicia Weeks. I'm representing Lonnie Turner and Earlene Turner. I actually did the application. The physical address is 3054. Let me take this off. 3054 Cullen Parkway, Pearland. And I would like to first thank you guys for the opportunity. Again, my name is Valicia Weeks. I'm a licensed massage therapist with the state of Texas. I'm also insured, and I've Pearland, the city of Pearland is a vendor, so that was really exciting. I had the opportunity to provide chair massage this past spring, so that was really great. I had an opportunity to provide for all the different departments within the city, so that was very exciting. Dad built the house back in the late 70s, and once he got tired of the residential part of it, he decided to open a salon for my daughter who's sitting back there. She finished the cosmetology program with the first program once they came back at Pearland High. And so when he saw she was on task, he opened the salon, but he opened it with the hope of me having a chance to provide therapeutic massage services also. But in the process, I realized that we had to have first get general business and then have the CUP. So that's what I'm here, just hoping that you guys would provide, would give the approval for that. I also have vendors such Georgia Brown Convention Center, the Houston Ballet, Houston Forward Time newspaper, the Houston Methodist, and of course, Pearland. So I have a team of over 25 therapists, and I've been in business for over 10 years. So I'm asking that you all will grant us permission. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you for that presentation.
Excuse me, Ms. Weeks. As the application came in the name of Lonnie Turner, and you are not Lonnie Turner, there is a, before you leave tonight, you don't have to do it in the middle of your zone change request.
Okay?
If you would fill out the speaker registration card. We
Okay,
need to make
sure.
sure that we track your name and your address to your comments.
Yes, and where can I find that?
Right
It's
behind
going to
you.
be on the table outside that door.
Okay, I
You
will.
don't have to leave right now, but we do need that card back
Yes.
before you leave the for the
Okay,
evening.
and should I just bring it up to you?
Yes, ma'am. To Ms.
Will do.
Lowe here.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you.
I think it's that pink form, and if you want to step outside and grab it, we'll wait. We won't
No,
proceed.
let's continue on.
All right.
So we don't hold anything up, and then I'll step out and get it.
Well, then we'll move to the next item. If that's it for the applicant presentation, we'll move to persons wishing to speak for or against the proposed request. Is there anyone in the audience, again, that would like to speak for or against? Hearing none, that puts it in the hands of the Planning and Commission and staff discussion. Planning and Zoning Commission? Anything? We're all quiet tonight. I do recall
I have-
driving past. Oh,
You have another, what, location? Yeah, that's what I was. No, this will be your first or your only one for now?
Excuse me, Ms. Weeks, sorry for the interruption again. Commissioner Cade, we need to get those from the podium with the microphone so that whatever the comments are, they could be
I'm
carried.
sorry. We're asking you to do a lot, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I needed the steps, so it's okay. I currently do not have another location. Right now, I'm providing corporate wellness chair massage in corporations
Okay,
and with my team. So I'm hoping to be able to provide therapeutic table massage.
all right. And I had another question, but I've lost it. I don't know what. Okay,
It's Monday.
I appreciate you coming to talk to us. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for the opportunity.
I recall this property being on Chocolate Bayou, I think it was.
Yes,
Back when.
yes.
Before the aligned colon came around,
Mhm.
Chocolate
That's
Bayou
right.
turned into it. So
Yeah, it was, well, back then it was what, County Road 91? It wasn't even Fight Road.
that's correct.
Yeah, in Old Chocolate Bayou, that's correct. Yeah, we've been here for close to 50 years.
Since 95, I've been driving by the house there and
Wow.
wondering how it's still a house, and here's the answer. So,
Yes, yes, I tell you, we appreciate Dad and Mom.
thank you.
All right.
Did you remember? Okay. Anything else? All right. Is there any staff wrap-up?
No additional.
Just the commission will be just making a formal recommendations to the city council on this one.
That is correct. All right, so we have a motion on the table, and all those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Measure passes unanimously. We're all agreeing tonight, and we look forward to you coming back for the CUP, the conditional use permit, and hopefully moving forward there. Thank y'all for coming. That was item C. We're going to move to item D, and again, we'll have a little change in what we do here. This is a CUP, a conditional use permit, similar to what you're going to have to go through. This is CUP 21-00027, a request by Victor Houtman, applicant on behalf of Olin Wooten, owner, for approval of a conditional use permit for a concrete batch plant located in the light industrial M1 district to accommodate the construction of a cement batch plant on a portion of the 77-plus acre property, and the general location is 4501 Knapp Road in Pearland, Texas. A motion for approval, please.
Chair, this is not a motion for approval. This is input and discussion for a conditional use permit.
That was the third one.
I wasn't keeping
Thank you.
count.
Thank you. You stepped in before Lawrence could say it. Okay, so we don't need a motion for approval. We open this up for discussion.
So either just to put it on the table or open for discussion, whichever way you want to phrase it.
Okay, we'll open it for discussion. And first, we need a staff report.
Again, Mohammed will provide the staff report.
Thank you, Martin. So this is a request for approval of a conditional use permit for a concrete batching plant use within the light industrial, or also known as M1 district, on a portion of this 77 acres property located at 4501 Knapp Road. The applicant proposes to build a ready-mix cement plant, which will be used for pipe coating on the site, as well as serving orders from external customers to the site. Knapp Road is where the main gates for this facility is located, and would be the main route for trucks transporting the concrete through Main Street. Staff has not received any public comments regarding this request. The zoning map shows this property located zoning light industrial, and it's developed as a pipe storage yard. It's been that way for several years. It's surrounded by industrial zoning from the north and east, and commercial zoning from the south side. South side is also the location of the cemetery. The north side is the flea market and some commercial uses on the east side of this property. And obviously the west side is the ETJ. The future land use plan shows this property designated as industrial. And this is a aerial site plan for the property that shows the proposed site for the batch plant within this existing pipe storage yard. So I do have some street views for that facility as well. On the left side, you can see this existing facility. This is taken directly from Knapp Road looking north on both sides. On the right side, you see a little bit of Knapp Road here. Then the conformity table shows this property conforming to the land use plan, future land use plan, as well as the utility plan. However, on the thoroughfare plan, the condition of Knapp Road does not appear to be adequate to serve this proposed use. So staff developed one condition with regard to that issue, and here's the approval criteria. The proposed use meets some of those approval criteria here, including the future land use plan, the zoning district, the intent of the zoning district. It just does not, there's some hazardous condition, traffic impacts from this particular use, and mitigation that would be needed for the proposed use. That's why you see some nonconformities here on the table. Staff still recommends approval of the request with the following conditions. The first one would be a geotechnical report that will be required from the applicant, assessing the current condition of Knapp Road and the traffic impact from trucks using this road. That shall be submitted prior to permitting, and any recommendations from the report shall be followed by the applicant. And the second condition is that this proposed use shall comply with all appropriate federal and or state standards, as well as any other requirements by the UDC, such as the adopted noise ordinance or hours of operation regulations. And that concludes the staff report.
Thank you very much. All right, that brings us to, excuse me, item 2, which is the applicant presentation. Is the applicant here? Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Victor Houtman, and I'm the applicant. And we are seeking a conditional use permit for a concrete batch plant located on 4501 Knapp Road.
And your address, please?
4501 Knapp Road.
Okay.
I think they're looking for your own address, not the facility's address.
Oh, my address? The office address?
Correct.
The office address is 1120 North Main Street, Berlin, Texas. So we're seeking a conditional use permit for a concrete batch plant that is capable of handling a maximum of 200 cubic yards per hour. This is the first time I do this, and I've been working with the website and through Mr. Mohammed, has been very supportive in trying to get all the documentation through. So I understand we're just going to have a discussion. It's not going to be approved today.
Yes, sir. This is a CUP, and the CUP we discuss, and the minutes of our meeting are given to our city council, and they'll take the recommendations and some of the things that we mention, and they'll move forward in a separate meeting. I'm assuming it's going to be a couple of 3-4 weeks from now. Mohammed's shaking his head, so that's a good sign.
Right.
And they'll make the decisions at that point. I think they have to go through 2 different readings, but yes, sir. We're more of a recommending body from when it comes to a CUP. The zone change you just heard, we voted on, and the council will also vote on it. They can overturn us, but it's more of a stronger recommendation. And Lawrence can correct me if I've said anything incorrect.
I would just say that for the CUP, you're less of a recommending body and more of a information receiving body who might hear it, and then your comments will be carried forward.
So we're really not dialoguing with you at this point. In a little bit, we'll ask for public comment when you're through, and then we may ask questions and have you come back up for that.
Okay, we're here to ask any questions. All right, thank you.
Mr. Hopman, was there anything you wanted to add as part of your applicant presentation? Is there anything that you wanted to discuss that you feel staff did not discuss?
No. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
What? Oh, well, okay. Well, we have a pipe coating process currently at that site. So the batch plant, the concrete plant, it's going to be on the same lot. Oh, there's no traffic. There's no traffic on that road. On the opposite side, on the south side, we have a cemetery, which they do not use that road for entry or exiting whatsoever. The only ones that use that road is our coating pipe process, and hopefully the concrete batch plant.
Thank you.
Okay. You see anyone? All right. Thank you.
All right. Are there any persons wishing to speak for or against this item, the proposed request? Any persons wishing to speak for or against? Hearing none, we'll move on to, well, I don't have the, actually, I could turn the page correctly. Planning and Zoning Commission comments, questions, concerns?
Just have a few. I go to Steamboat Bill's regularly as I work up the road from there, and that corner, that Knapp Road corner, is a disaster. It is chewed up from the pipe trucks. Yes, no one uses it, but I'm sure Steamboat Bill's would not agree with that because a lot of people use it. I'm assuming that the batch plant will coexist with the existing pipe yard that's there. So I just, as the city recommends, I would like to see a traffic analysis to, anticipate the increased traffic on the road on that intersection. Though it may not seem much, it still causes delays and people driving down 35 north and south, people turning left on the Knapp Road, waiting on the trucks to turn. I was on the PEDC and we rehabbed all of 35. And so that intersection is part of that rehab. And so, if the trucks are taking out the curbs and the sidewalk ingress or egress there, it would concern me because there's expense there. So I'd like to see, some concrete numbers, no pun intended, on the traffic analysis. And then it is mentioned the hours of the batch plant. I know that there's a cemetery on one side, but batch plants do create dust during concrete creation. It does create noise. They typically are lit from the top down, so they can run past dark. Sometimes I'm familiar with some of the batch plants because we finance some of them every now and again. So, truck traffic, sand. You have to bring sand in to process to make concrete. You have to truck the concrete out. So, and I realize the logistics of a batch plant is the location is key because every foot that a truck has to travel is an expense to the end user. So I get it. It's a logistic situation and its location. So I'm just curious. I want to see some of the numbers. I would like to see some of the numbers as far as traffic, anticipated traffic, dump truck and cement trucks or anything else on top of the existing pipe trucks that are going in and out, which are significant because I run into them every day. And then the sound, anticipated lighting, and impact to the areas, albeit it is commercial, it is M1, and it should be negligible, but I'm just curious. So not disfavorable to it at all because its existing use is commercial M1, and that's what it's there for. So this is just another creative use of existing property for you guys, and I appreciate you looking at that. It's just I want to see the impact a little bit more than what's here. Thanks.
I had a question. First, Mohammed, can you go to the page where you said, I think it's back one more, I'm sorry. Maybe one more. No, go forward. I don't know where it went. Oh, here it is right here. It says non-conforming where it says preserves the character of adjacent developments and mitigates development-related adverse impacts. Why is that non-conforming, did you say? I'm sorry to have you repeat it, but.
Let Mohammed take a first stab at it, and then I'll answer afterwards.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so the reason for that is because, as I said, that the condition of Knapp Road is right now, it's not a really good condition and will not support this use. And so we're looking for this analysis, and based on that, our engineering department will determine what course of actions that need to be taken in order to mitigate these adverse impacts.
And specifically about the character of the area, currently this is a pipe yard, and while there are dust and sound that comes off of that, the addition of the concrete batch plant there is going to increase the sound level, and it will increase the dust level. And as Commissioner Dansby pointed out, we have a restaurant that is at the corner of these two roads immediately adjacent to this property, and there are not additional design aspects to reduce dust or sound that are incorporated with this development. So that's why this was a non-conforming to that criteria.
And what were the hours of the batch plant?
It'll be regular operating hours, but being a batch plant, you might have some trucks that might come in as early as 4 o'clock in the morning, all the way up to maybe 6 o'clock. I mean, it all depends. And I just wanted to add about the air. The TCEQ, we have the approval for the air permit, and we also have air permits approval for the permit to production of the pipe coating that we have on site. And we already quoted a company to perform the geotechnical report and the traffic report We're just working with Mohammed, make sure that what was quoted is what you guys are requiring.
I'm not against this per se. I just am curious about some of the things around it. And in the ETJ, there are some residents right there, aren't there, on Isla and
This is all property that, you're talking about to the west on Macawa.
yeah, on Ella. I'm just curious about some. I know there's some residents on those streets, Ella and Isla.
So with this property and where this is located, we did not take into consideration effects that are outside of the city limits. So because of the location where they are proposing, if they were proposing this to be more
Right.
towards the
Okay.
west property line, then of course we would have brought that up. But with this being primarily closer to the east,
Okay.
and along Knapp Road, we kept our comments centered more towards the immediate area.
I was looking at the red lines, thinking it was very spread out. I'm sorry. I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you.
Just quickly to answer that question, one of the things that we also consider is the location of this batch plan in relation to everything else, because this is a very big property. And so the distance to the residences and the homes that are located in the ETJ is quite significant. So yes, there could be some impacts. There could be some dust carrying out that way, but it's quite significant distance from this location to that area.
I was thinking it might be noisy. But if the hours are regular business hours,
I was going to actually address that too. We do not have limitations on hours of operation, but the TCQ has some requirements for hours of operation. I'm trying to find it. It's tied to the permit that was issued to them. Actually, the permit that was issued to them is actually included in the staff report, and it has some limitations on the hours. I'm just trying to find that here real quick for you.
oh, okay. All right.
I do think it's important to be fair to the applicant and say that at this property, there was a concrete batch operation prior to Mr. Hutman and his business. However, that concrete batch operation was limited to the pipe coating, I believe,
Yes, that's correct.
at that operation, at that facility. So this is actually an expansion of the use because it would allow it for other folks, and that's why we get to the mitigating impacts. It used to be that everything was self-contained, so to speak, but now you're bringing in more trucks and you're having more trucks go out for the concrete after it's been mixed, and that's where those additional effects come in. But for some of the sound, for some of the air, for some of those things, it's already been there, but theoretically this could expand those effects to adjacent areas in greater proportion than what they are now.
Now, the equipment that's going to be mounted for the handling the cement for the ready mix, it does have dust collectors. So the dust collectors is collected and it's recirculated back into the system. So it is a closed loop system with respect to dust.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
This is Commissioner Henrichs. I think there's not a lot of places that it makes sense to put a concrete batch plant. So I think this is one of those areas of town, because we're kind of been discussing a lot lately about industrial projects that have this kind of scope of work. And I definitely feel like this is going to be a more ideal location. And he was already doing this service there. So that's my thoughts.
I don't have any issues with this. Thank you.
Commissioner
Never be a
Dansby.
politician.
Commissioner Dansby, to follow up on your issue, I know that this is a CUP and y'all receive comments. and then your comments are carried forward, you wanted to have additional numbers. Are you suggesting that you need those before you make further comments and you wanted a motion to postpone?
No, sir.
Or you going forward and suggest that those numbers be provided?
It could just
by the
be
time it gets-
provided just for morbid curiosity for me.
Thank you, sir.
When I go to steamboats, how many trucks do I have to go around to get there? You're in way of my gumbo. That's it.
Red beans and rice for me. I agree with Commissioner Henrichs. If I was going to place a concrete batch plant, there's not a lot of places I would pick, and this is probably one of them. The winds typically come from the southeast to the northwest, and there you have, I believe, most of your facility going northward is there, and then above that is north of that is a ball field and the beltway, and I think that dust would settle by then. I'm not an expert. I do have an environmental degree, and I know you guys have a book that thick of regulations that you need to follow. So I'm here for the zoning part of it. Some of that other stuff is beyond our scope, really, I think. To the south, when we have a cold front, you have a cemetery to the south, and all you have there are voters. That was a joke. Only a couple of people got it. It just wasn't funny, is what you're saying. I get it. So I really think this is the ideal location. Mohammed, if you would please be so kind, or whoever has control of the screen, to put the two items. I did have a question. Geotechnical report, I understand those. I'm looking for the TIA, the traffic impact analysis. Not having read through all of one of those, will that come back with, or is that a possibility to come back with, this should be a concrete road, or this asphalt road needs to be supported, or is it? I always thought of it more of here's where you need your entrance, or it's got to be X amount of feet away from the main road, or those kind of things. So I guess I'm looking for, before I say I recommend these, a better understanding.
So again, that's why there are two portions to request. Number one being the geotechnical portion, and then the traffic impact analysis. Since we do have our engineering department here, I will not shoot from the hip and pass it over to them to discuss the specifics of those two reports. So Raj,
okay,
take it away.
Thank you. This, you already know, like, why we want to see that geotechnical report, because the roadway condition is, what we can see is already poor condition roadways, and with this additional amount of trucks, the roadway will be damaged very soon and will not be in functioning condition very shortly. So that's why we wanted to know what needs to be done to that roadway, so that that cost is borne by the developer or whoever wants to put this street and this facility, because they are the one who will be using that majority of the time. They've been already using that. As far as traffic impact analysis, so first they will start with traffic impact analysis worksheet. So what that does is whether that full-blown TIA is required or not. So we will not ask the applicant to go for a full-blown TIA until they determine whether we need that TIA TIA is needed or not based on our criteria.
Thank you for that. I don't have a problem with the recommendations. The second recommendation is basically just saying y'all are going to follow other state and federal rules, which and city codes and such. Hours of operation, I don't have a problem if you start at 4 a.m. I know that's very typical of the concrete world. You see them on job sites at 5, so they've probably got to be at your site at 4 to get that started. If you were near a residential neighborhood or close to, I'd hate to do that, but I think you're far enough away, and you have even noise limitations through the state or city ordinances. You have noise regulations. So do we need anything else? I think we've all said our piece. If I were voting, I would vote for it.
I would also vote for it.
I as well would vote for it.
I would vote for it.
I would vote for it.
So that's it for our process, and the city council will take our, not recommendations, but our information, and then they'll be making decisions here in the near future. And I'm sure they'll invite you to those meetings to speak as well. So thank you, and appreciate you being a business here in Pearland as well. That brings us to item E, which is another conditional use permit. And this is conditional use permit application 21-00029. A request by Cameron Crouch, GCP Commercial, applicant on behalf of Sue Morrison, 212012, Trust. Owner, for approval of the CUP for auto wash self-service use within the General Commercial District, GC District, to accommodate a proposed development for an automatic car wash facility with associated vacuum stalls on approximately 5+ acres of land, the general location being north of 2027 Main Street. And I'd like to open this item for discussion. Staff report, please.
Once again, Mohammed will present this report. Mohammed, take it away.
Thank you, Martin. This is a request for approval of a conditional use permit for auto wash self-service use within the general commercial zoning on approximately 5.1 acres of land located north of 2027 Main Street. The applicant proposes to develop an automatic car wash facility with associated vacuum stalls on a portion of that property, approximately 1.18 acre lot. Staff has not received any correspondence, any public comments regarding this request. The aerial and zoning map shows this property currently undeveloped. Again, it's zoned general commercial, as you can see with the red color. It is surrounded by the general commercial zoning from all sides, and there are undeveloped properties to the north as well as the south. On the north side, a portion of that subject tract will stay undeveloped after this car wash gets built. And the future land use plan has this property designated as business commercial. And the next slide is the proposed site plan that shows the layout of the proposed car wash development, including location of the car wash tunnel, the vacuum stations, and stacking lanes. Speaking of stacking lanes, the next slide shows the stacking of the cars on the facility. So it has a very long drive through that would accommodate a lot of cars there on the stacking lane there. The next slide is a proposed landscape plan. It shows the proposed landscaping on the property, including trees surrounding the facility, as well as hedgerow that surrounds the entire property. One of the things that, this is an updated actually landscape plan by the applicant, and it shows that they accommodated some of the recommendations that we had for them, which is to provide hedgerow with evergreen shrubs surrounding the entire facility to screen that stacking lane on the south side, as well as the vacuum stations on the north side as well. And they do have shrubs originally and trees along Main Street. And they also did move the dumpster as well from the plan that you had in the report. The next slide is the proposed elevations of the building, and shows that the building would have full masonry elevations. It's a combination of CMU as well as some bricks there. Next slide is some views of the property taken from Main Street, left side looking directly towards the property, and the right slide or the right photo is taken right from the middle of Main Street. Next slide is the conformity table. The property conforms to the comp plan as well as the future land use plan, thoroughfare plan, the utility plan. No issues on this conformity table. Next slide, staff looked at this approval criteria. It would be all conforming to these criteria of approval. And with that, staff is recommending approval of the request with a couple of conditions. The first one is being that the car wash has to be developed in substantial conformance to the building materials shown on the applicant's building elevations. And the second one is that the perimeter of the site also be screened by at least minimum 3-foot continuous hedgerow of evergreen shrubs to screen the drive-through lane as well as the vacuum stations from adjacent properties in the streets. And that concludes staff report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And the applicant presentation, is the applicant here? Thank you. You'll state your name and address, of course, and I saw you grab one of those pink sheets. Was that for you? Or, all right, you're good.
That was for me.
Thank you.
I needed it. Thank you, Lawrence, for the reminder. Joseph Ernest, 2208 West, 700 South, all the way from Springville, Utah. All right, I flew in. And serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission is often a thankless job, so thank you. I serve on the Planning and Zoning Commission for the city I live in, Spanish Fork, Utah. We're about just over 40,000 residents now, and it's developing quickly. I'm sure Pearland is as well. And this is my first time meeting Mohammed in person. He's fantastic, very knowledgeable, informative, walked us through all of our issues, helped us, what I hope you agree with is a complete application, landscaping plans and everything. And Mohammed was just fantastic. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mohammed. I am excited to be here. Quick Quack Car Wash, we have about 20 locations in the greater Houston area. And I know it's a conditional use permit application, so I thought I would just tell you some of the things that make us a little different that you just wouldn't know normally, especially the things that I think are relevant to a conditional use application. By chance, could we show the site plan? It's probably the easiest way to just, and I'll be brief, just because I can tell the nature of it. I know we're checking all the right boxes, but I think I like the opportunity to tell you what's coming. And we're excited to be part of the community. That's the other big thing is Quick Quack Car Wash, they do a lot to be part of the community. Briefly, leading up to the grand opening, 30 days in advance, they'll start advertising a person or a family or some sort of need that in the community. And the day before the grand opening, they'll ask the community to come out and they'll give free car washes and they'll ask for donations to the family or the person in need in the community. And then Quick Quack will match the sum total of the donations and then give that to that person. It's one of the neatest things I get to be a part of in my job, actually. It's just amazing. A lot of companies kind of talk about doing big things. They really, Quick Quack does a great job. I don't work for Quick Quack. I'm the developer, but it's just neat to be invited to those events for me. They also do fundraisers in the community, football fundraisers. They'll wash cars and local community things like that. But let's get to the point at hand, the task at hand here. Long ago, water conservation became very, very important to Quick Quack Car Wash. They're out of Sacramento, and also they're in Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and other states that deal with water issues. So we self-imposed several years ago, we will put 3 massive reclaim tanks underneath the tunnel. And our net water usage is only 26 gallons of water per vehicle. That's a pretty big deal. If someone were to wash their car in their driveway, they'll use about 180 gallons, depending on what Google website you click on. 180 is about the average of the averages. So it's a substantial savings of water to go. It's a little counterintuitive, but it actually saves a lot of water to go to a Quick Quack Car Wash versus somewhere else or even washing the car in your driveway. So we think that's important. As far as the on-site stacking and queuing, we over-purchase real estate to ensure that we are not a bother as far as traffic flow for the neighbors or Main Street in this instance. It's imperative that we never ever get even close to backing up onto Main Street or backing up into that shared access. That there was one of the slides that showed 43 vehicles pre what I'll call our QB station. It stops counting right there. That's a quarterback station where our employees will be on site all the time where the business is operating. They are clean, great, kind employees. We staff a site like this is 15 to 20 employees to staff a Quick Quack car wash. So those are people in the community that will come and work. And we hope to provide just a fantastic work environment for them. They all wear white shirts and ties to go along with the clean look and the clean feel, not unlike this white shirt. So, and they'll greet you with a smile and an iPad that will just take your car wash order, and it's very quick. That's the other thing, is it has to be very quick. Site flow is very important, and customer experience is very important. So our site flow from car washes that are like ours, that aren't ours, we've had an actual traffic engineer monitor and report to us how much faster we are. We're anywhere from 60% to twice as fast as car washes that are like ours that are not us, if that makes sense. And I could give you that data. It's not that interesting, but these are the things I fall asleep to. I read these reports, right? So also post where they stopped counting, we could fit another 10 cars, roughly, maybe 9, but I think it's about 10. And 4 vehicles in the tunnel at once, up to 4 at once. So it's and it's a 114-foot tunnel. And so the vehicle would come up to the beginning of that tunnel, put their car in neutral. They'd be greeted by an employee. We'll walk them through these steps, and then they'll get pulled through the wash. Half of the vehicles will then leave. They will not turn into the vacuum stalls. If they do turn into the vacuum stalls, something that's unique, and this is part of that CUP, I'm trying to hit the things that matter for a CUP, is we are powering all of those vacuums with a single engine, a single central vacuum engine that's enclosed in CMU block. And that's for sound mitigation. We do that regardless of if you would have made us do it or not. That's what we're going to do. So it's actually on the east side there. It's enclosed. It almost looks like a trash enclosure, but it's not. On the east side of the vacuum stalls, on that whole row. There you go, that cursor. That's a vacuum enclosure. And that'll be enclosed with the same type of CMU that we use for the tunnel. So it all looks the same. Same with the trash enclosure, that'll be enclosed CMU block. It'll all look really good. And that's really important. The customer would then have the option of vacuuming their car, or there's also air compression hoses. I kid you not, I was a member of Quick Quack for maybe 3 years before I realized you just open both front doors and you blow out the dashboard with the air compression hose. 3 years. Yeah, I lost the IQ test on that one. I should have been doing that right from the start. Other than that, let's think. I'm here for questions. We're happy to be here. There's a Ace to the south, Walmart to the north. It's 5 acres of undeveloped land that we have secured, and part of it will be the car wash. Oh, the exit of the tunnel, that's the loudest part of the car wash. Main Street trucks, the trucks on Main Street are going to be louder than the car wash. It's all designed and pointed that way on purpose. Everything's, we hope that you like it. And I'm here to answer any questions you have, and I'm grateful to be here.
Thank you very much. Great presentation. We have any persons wishing to speak for or against the proposed request? Anyone wishing to speak for or against? All right, we'll move on, and that puts us in item B, which is the Planning Commission staff discussions. So the Planning and Zoning Commissioners.
Quick question, just as you sit, sorry. On this property, where do you anticipate this being located?
Great question, thank you. The best way to probably pinpoint it is where the access across the street was on the site plan.
Oh, to the north?
Basically right across from KFC.
Okay, to the north, okay.
Yeah.
So I think part of was mentioned shared access, so I was concerned with Ace Hardware, traffic and ingress, egress, but
I appreciate you saying that. It's shared access with the user to the south there, Commissioner. If you look at that site plan, I'm talking about that the additional users that will be on that frontage cross access.
The anticipated
Yes, sir.
future uses.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got you. Okay, that's all I had. Look, y'all, it's a drag race to see who gets these up first because there's more than one on 35 looking to come in. So, so far, this is the best one I've seen. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
And worst case scenario, you're going to have car washes competing, and it's not bad when businesses compete. That's a good thing.
that'd be good, except for banks. We don't like that.
I have a question for staff. How many car washes are within a 3-mile radius of where this proposed site plan is?
Good question. We have that in the staff report. Let me just pull it up real quick.
Yeah, we were trying to do the math ourselves, but the one at like Casa Olay, the one apparently on Parkway, but that's north. That's in Harris County, and the two theoretically proposed ones on 35 that don't exist, and that's all we could. And there's a hand car wash there at whatever that road is.
Across from Ringo's, though.
Yeah, but it's not the same. I mean, obviously.
We have 2 car washes within 1 mile and 4 within 3 miles. So a total of 6. Those including car washes that are associated with gas station. You still have those small car washes that are located in gas station. There's one in the gas station just right across the street. It's obvious it's just smaller one.
I like the idea and concept of this of this car wash, but it's no secret. I don't think Pearland needs another car wash, but I do like what you're bringing and how it'll conserve water as well as allow those cars in and out at a 60% quicker rate than others. So I do respect and appreciate that. Thank you.
This is Commissioner Henrichs. I definitely like the concept, and I'm definitely all about conserving water. I think that was a really excellent point, and I really appreciate you going into detail to describe how this car wash is different from others. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
I would beg to differ on one point. 180 gallons is an awful lot for a homeowner. I think that would be that homeowner that probably turns his water on full blast and lets the hose lay there while he or she washes the car, puts the suds on it. I got because I have teenagers, I got what do you call those little sprayer things that shuts it off automatically. Well, not that they've ever washed their car that way. But in case they did, I appreciate also asking the question of where it fit on this 5 acres, because a car wash should take 1.5, 2 acres at the most, right? And that deep stacking is a great idea. So again, just like we said with the batch plant, the prior applicant, if I had to pick a spot in Pearland, y'all did a good job at site selection. This is a good location. I believe that. You have Walmart to the north, you have Ace Hardware to the south, the school district, and some other retail across the street. It makes a lot of sense here. If it's going to go anywhere in the area, you're not surrounded by residential. So I like the site, I like the location, I like what you guys are doing. Thank you very much. So do we want to go around the table and say if we would vote for it? I think that'd be a good idea to get the message to the council.
I would vote for it. I like the subtle differences that the water and I think you said one motor for the vacuums. I like that. I like that you those things were different to me. I did like it. I would vote for this one.
I would vote for it as well. And thanks again for traveling down here. Appreciate it.
I would vote for it.
I would vote for it.
I would, and it was one other thing I wanted to say. I'm sorry. The hedges or the row of bushes. I noticed it went all the way to the property, back of the property. I don't know that I would think that that was necessary. You are going to have another user at some point to the south of you, and they're going to block a lot of the visibility and such anyway. So I'm not sure what we're really blocking with a 3-foot row of hedges. The entire perimeter of the facility. Again, that's my own personal opinion, and staff had their recommendations. So, but I'm for it as well. And that's it. So we opened for discussion, and we have discussed, and we'll close that item then accordingly. Thank you again. The next item is item 8, and that is discussion items. And the first item there is Commissioner's Activity Report. Anything?
I sort of wanted to bring something up and see if we could talk about it, or perhaps, I guess, see if we could talk about it. Martin, we keep having vape shops that come to us, and then there's CBD shops that don't come to us. And so I've been thinking about that quite a bit, about them. They're not regulated. However, there's still an age limit, and I don't understand the fact that there's no CUP on those. And I wanted to ask about that and see if that could change. I guess that's my question, and that's what I want to know. Thank you.
So it's probably not appropriate for us to have a discussion about whether that should happen or shouldn't happen at tonight's meeting, as it's not an agenda item. But your comment has been received. It's within P&Z's recommendation, or within P&Z's authority to make proposed changes to the UDC. And if you want to see vape shops or CBD shops changed, then that is something that is in P&Z's control to make as a recommendation.
Can we put it on the agenda?
Traditionally, it would take. I'll have to verify with the P&Z rules of procedure. I'll look at that, and then I will get back with you individually on what you need to do to have that as an agenda item.
I think it's me and another commissioner, right?
I know that's how it works for City Council. I thought that that's how it worked for P&Z, but that's what I want to verify instead of giving you misleading, false, or bad information.
All right, thank you.
And instead of individually, I don't know if you can let the rest of us know. I've always wanted to know that as well. And I know you and I had a discussion about something else a couple of months ago that I had the same question. So it'd be great from a procedural standpoint, which reminds me at some point we need to go over the rules of Robert's rules on a not so busy night. We could use that training, I'm sure, in a good update. I always enjoy those. Anything else? All right. The next regular P&Z meeting is October 4th, 2021. Does anybody know that they will not be here? All right.
I have one some great news. I just want to let you know that today, Martin, we received that the city has been certified as a scenic city. And just want to congratulate the city for having that recertification as a platinum. And I'll
congratulate staff.
Talk about that.
Great job.
Yeah, there you go.
I was actually just writing a note to myself to add that to the agenda so that way I could make a formal presentation for y'all. But
please do.
Look forward to that on the October 4th agenda. I'll have a brief discussion about what Scenic City is and about our efforts to rank up from the gold standard that we were to our now platinum certification.
It's those trees around those car washes.
I think that you're planning on
Is there anything we can help you gentlemen with? I didn't. Okay. You just. You know, there is Monday Night Football. I'm just throwing that out there, right?
He's here for the jokes.
Well, sorry to disappoint you on that front as well. Thank you all. It's 7:47. That concludes the meeting.